Now, we certainly hope that he's able to recover from whatever it is that's ailing him and causing him to be in the news for all the wrong reasons. Now, far from the roar of approving fans, the clicks of cameras, the microphones shoved in the face, the congratulatory embrace of teammates, is the business side of it all. The measured, calculated side that we hardly get to see, let alone talk about. Tonight, we're talking about the important relationship between brands and sports personalities. And with me, Vivian Mahotlo from Barlow World Lexus in Centurion, dealer principal, and she's in the middle, as well as Jasmine Mahlakano on my far left, who is a player agent, and Mamelodi Sundowns midfielder, also known as the General Deko Modise. Thank you so much for coming through and making it on a school night.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here.
First up, we know the importance of sponsorship and it benefits all parties. But Vivian, I'm going to start with you on this one. Because I'd like to know from you, from a brand awareness perspective, how do you identify which personalities are the ones that are worthy of your brand being involved with?
I think for us it's important to look at where the players come from and what kind of social life do they socialize themselves with, and what influence they have in the continent, because obviously sports is loved all over the country and all over the continent. So we go around looking at some of those aspects, your social media, what you influence in people, what does the people look at when they look at you as an ambassador. So that's more or less what we look at.
Okay, now Dick, I'm going to come to you just now, but before I get to you, because for me, you're really like the nub of the matter, because we're talking about you are the sports personality, you're the brand. But before we get to you, Dick, I just want to check with you, Jasmine, how do you identify which brands work for you?
Usually if they're bad, we don't look at them. No, I'm kidding. No, I think firstly you look at how the brand is being recognized in the market. And I think one of those is, for example, Lexus, as an example, what Vivian is talking about, as a great brand of a vehicle, it's one of those brands that you easily can associate with. However, it's not easy in the sense of affording a footballer that kind of a brand. You have to look at the type of footballer or sportsman that can easily fit into the same brand. So within the stable, I'll then look around and say, who fit this type of a brand and the lifestyle of the kind of people. I mean, for example, Tico will never fit that kind of a brand because he's not a Lexus guy, but he is another brand. So in this case, somebody like Happy Jele, somebody like Spiritual will fit. In Tico's case, he'll be a GTI kind of a guy, because he's a fast guy. He's the kind of guy that young guys and kids in the township associate with. And I think that's where you start looking. So it's not about just getting a brand and then attach it to the footballer. And equally, it could be about which one don't you need around your footballers. Very interesting. Now, Tico, this is where you come in now. You had a bit of the reason I'm laughing is because you're a little surprised that Jasmine saying, oh, fast brand. Tico, here's a question for you. When you started playing football, did you ever consider yourself that one day you'd be sitting in a studio talking about yourself as a brand?
To be honest, no. All I wanted to do was just to play football and enjoy football. I never knew where I would be. But in terms of me being a brand ambassador for a dealership like VW Soweto, that's something that has never came into my mind. But I mean, you know how football is, and especially these days, brands now looking at footballers differently. I'm glad that the perception of how footballers used to behave and it's changing a little bit. So I'm in a fortunate position.
With that said, you're a football player. Your thing is to ply your trade on the football pitch. Yeah. You play to the whistle, and yet you've got so many people clamoring for your attention. Yeah. Be they dealerships, be they computer companies, all sorts of different blue chips. How does it feel to be in that space where there's so many people looking for your attention? People you never even thought would be trying to speak to you, and now they are. How does it feel?
I mean, it's surprising as much as it gives a lot of pressure as well, because you know that you're representing a different kind of brand, and as for me as a footballer as well, you tend to take certain things very seriously, as to how you articulate yourself, and especially also how you behave also. So those are kind of difficult things, especially when you're under a microscope. But I mean, as a total footballer who's very professional about their job, it becomes easy as well, because as you know that there's certain ways that you need to live your life, And if you live a certain life, you know, good things will come.
You know, I'm going to come back to that because I think that's quite key in terms of footballers and other sports personalities who make it big and have got a lot of attention on them, and also all those pressures that come with it. From you, Vivian, we know this relationship is not always rosy. Just now I read a story about how Tiger Woods is in the news for the wrong reasons. Again, we've been all waiting for him to come back into the field of play. He almost made it, didn't quite make it, he's not there. Now all of a sudden he's arrested for a DUI, and maybe there's also drugs involved. What happens in cases like that? For example, also Maria Sharapova, she had her own case of doping in sports, and so on and so forth. Lance Armstrong. How do you manage it from a sponsor perspective, from a blue chip company perspective, when that happens with one of your brands?
I think because it's easier for us because we monitor the guys every weekly. You know, we watch what they say, we watch what they do, we follow what they say wherever they go. Well, are they doing a wrong thing? Are they doing a right thing? So I think that's where we've got this, obviously, where Jasmine also is a company that's helping us to manage that, to see that, to make sure that all our brand ambassadors, especially because, you know, our sponsor Happy and Simpiwe. So those are the two guys that, you know, we recognized, and we looked at the future, whatever they've done before and what they're doing now. So those two, it works hand in hand with, and it makes it easier for us to basically just track all those to eliminate all those kind of things where, you know, they end up drinking and driving or doing such things. So it's easy for us to maintain that by monitoring every weekly social media, whatever they do, we own them.
Clearly there's a lot of work in terms of your preparations as well as the maintenance, and I'm just talking at it from a business perspective, but it must be quite heavy to be knowing that like a whole lot of people are watching your Twitter account, what you're posting on Instagram. Jasmine, where do you fit in with this? Because I mean, you've dealt with a lot of players who moved from being wherever they were, either from a good school or a bad school, from a rural area, from a township, from a suburb, wherever, to where they become I don't know, guardians of the galaxy, almost superstars. How do you manage that? I
always eliminate superstars element. I always say human beings. And I think Tiko will tell you that in my stable, I think we talk about family element, and also there has to be rules. Any father who's got a house with no rules, it becomes a mess. So the rules are, they know what to expect, they know what I expect from them, and also I know what they expect out of me. So obviously from those elements, it works hand in hand. In other words, if you manage your players very well and you've got rules that says you cannot be in this kind of places because the association or a stigma that comes with it can damage your brand. So it's not so much about you don't have to be at Chisanyama every week. It's okay. I mean, it's the young, they can be at Chisanyama every weekend. But I mean, if you are there every Friday, almost like people can wait for you at Chisanyama because they know you're coming on Friday. It's almost like diminishing your own brand. So those are the kind of elements that I try to instill in them. Whilst I'm talking about what not to do, I also talk about what to do. So it's important to become a human being, because it's also so nice for people to say, we met Tiko at the mall. He's such a nice guy. I mean, he gave my son an autograph without raising a finger. So those are some of the elements that I try to instill in my players. But the most important part is they have to be grounded and be human beings. Because once you become a superstar, this is what happens with you. A lot of things go wrong because you also forget.
I get that, and thanks very much for that. But now, before I let you go, Tiko, one last word for our prospective human beings who ply their trade in the field of play and become and have adoring fans. What would you say to a young man or woman who's about to hit superstardom, and not to use the word that you didn't want me to use, but who's about to be seen as a superstar by the rest of us? What would you say to them in 30 seconds or less, please, Tiko?
I mean, of course, it's difficult when you be labeled a superstar, and especially becomes more difficult when you're a footballer who thinks that you're a superstar, so now you become untouchable, so nobody can speak to you. So I think it's always to remember where you come from, and remember why you're doing that. I think that's the major thing that will always keep you grounded, because you know why you're in for.
Tiko, thank you so much for coming through. And once again, I never got to meet you to congratulate you for everything that you and your team have done over the last 18 months. Hard luck on coming second. But having said that, you've flown the South African flag super high all over the world, and we really appreciate what you've done.
Thank you very much.
Now, Tiko Modise from Mamelodi Sundowns, as well as we've got with us Vivian Mahlakani, Not Vivian Mahotla, I beg your pardon.
I'm married to her. Might as well just get married.
I hope your better halves don't sue me for this. Vivian Mahotla from Bollywood Lexus dealer principal out in Centurion, and Jasmine Mahlakani, he's a player agent, speaking to us about how to manage all the things that come with being a famous footballer or sports star in South Africa. Moving on to other